Mindful Life Practice.
We're going to take a practice today that is oriented towards all yoga levels. I know there's some people joining that have never done yoga before, which is amazing. There's some people joining that are in my 30-day yoga challenge or have been to my yoga class before. So we have kind of a mixed group. We're going to start first in a seated meditation, and you'll notice I brought a chair over. If you're someone that has tight hips or like knee pain and for whatever reason you can't sit on your yoga mat, please don't feel obligated to sit down on the mat. You can sit on the chair, okay? That is an option. If you're comfortable crisscross, then you'll just sit crisscross. Lengthen up through your spine, stacking each and every vertebrae. And then allow your head to balance on both shoulders and just gently tuck your chin. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And then if you want, you can exhale through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose. And then exhaling through the mouth. So one of the most key aspects of our yoga practice is, it's like a mindfulness practice. And one of the tools that we use is our breath. And so in everyday life, if you can imagine how your brain is working, typically your thoughts are in the forefront and your breath is in the background, and it's almost like kind of, you know, if you have a radio playing in the background or a TV playing in the background, it's just the background noise. And our intention with our practice, we're not trying to shut our mind from thinking, that's not the goal. But we're trying to focus our attention on our breath and make the breath the priority. And then kind of let the thoughts be in the background, almost like clouds passing through the sky. Okay, so we're just gonna sit here and start by taking our attention to our breath. So maybe feeling the inhales and exhales in various ways. So we'll start with the first round of breath and then just see if it can guide all the way down towards the base of your belly, like around towards your pelvis. And then exhale and empty to release. And take your next breath in towards your navel. And exhale to release. Take your next breath in towards your ribs. Feel like the intercostal muscles expanding. And then exhale, empty. I'm just gonna check something on the chat. You guys stay where you are. Yeah. Inhaling towards the chest. And then exhaling to release. And this time, inhale towards your collarbones. And then exhale to release. And now let's put that all together. So for your next breath in, you're going to almost fill your whole torso from bottom to top, like a glass filling up with water. And then exhale to empty. And then one more round. So around our yoga practice, we usually set an intention or a goal. It's kind of like the reason why you're here. So take a moment to think about that. Whether you're here to just build strength or flexibility or get a good stretch, or maybe just have an hour away from your quarantine in your home. Just identify and acknowledge what that is. Different for every person because we're all different. And then on your next round of breath, you're going to inhale and lift both palms up towards the sky. And then when you exhale, you're going to take it into a twist. Okay, so your left palm is going to be on your right knee and your right fingertips are going to be behind you, and you're going to gaze over your right shoulder. Let's inhale, move all the way back through center. Your spine is lengthening straight up. You're neutralizing now. And then you're exhaling, twisting the opposite way. So we're moving the spine in all the different directions that it moves to start. Inhale, lift both palms up. And then exhale the right fingertips onto the mat, and then take your left arm overhead. So you're taking a lateral side bend. And then come all the way back through center and stretch the opposite way. Come all the way back through the center. And then just turn so that you are on your knees. This is called a tabletop pose. So knees are underneath the hips and palms are underneath the shoulders. If you have sensitive kneecaps, we are going to be doing poses on the knees, and you can always put like a cushion or a blanket to modify. Okay, the first thing we're going to do on our table is stretch through our wrists. So you are going to, I'm just going to show you, with your hands flat on the earth, you're going to turn your fingertips out. Okay, so you're rotating like this. If you can, maybe you fully turn the fingertips so that they're pointing down towards your knees like this, okay? If that's too much for your wrists, back off. You don't need to do it. But if you're okay rotating all the way, you're just gonna stretch back and forth and get a stretch through the wrists. So in our yoga practice, we will be putting weight on our hands. And one of the most common injuries I see in yoga is wrists. And that's because people aren't stretching their wrists, and they're also not distributing their weight evenly on their palms and their fingers. Okay, so I'm trying to incorporate some wrist stretching into all my classes. So let's just do one more. And now we're gonna rotate the palms back to neutral, and then take a second to really anchor through your palms. So really spread through the fingers, suction through the hands, feel like every fingertip, every knuckle supporting you. And then on your breath in, you're gonna tilt at the pelvis and lift your chin. This is called your cow. And then exhale and curl your spine, tuck your chin. This is like a scary Halloween cat. Okay, breathing in, tilting. And then breathing out, curling and coiling and contracting. Let this be with your own breath. So I'm gonna cue you a lot to breathe, but the reality is that we all breathe at a different pace. Just know that if your breath becomes like very quick at one point, you can always take a rest and come back into child's pose. And actually, I'm gonna show you child's pose now. So let your spine neutralize. And then just shift your hips back onto your heels and rest your forehead onto the mat. So this is called Balasana, and this is like the most common rest pose in yoga. If this is not restful for you, then forget about it. And if at any point in the class you want to take a little rest and you want to take a break, you can take child's pose, or you can do whatever, really. You can lie on your back, you can come back to seated, either or, okay? Let's take one more breath in our child's pose. And then we're gonna come all the way back through a table and tuck our toes and lift upward and backwards to the first downward facing dog. So you're making a V shape with this pose. It's okay if your heels are not touching the mat. They don't need to be. And I want you to push the ground away like we talked about. So you're really spreading through the palms and supporting yourself. And you're relaxing through the shoulders. And I want to show you a modification if you're a total beginner. Like when my dad takes my classes, he puts his hands on the chair like this, and it gets him the same benefit, but it kind of reduces the tension on the shoulders, okay? So if you're totally brand new, don't be afraid to modify in that way, because I know that this can be a challenging pose for people that are new. I often say in my classes that this is a rest pose, but like it's not a rest pose if it's your first class. Okay, take one more breath. And then you're going to walk your feet up to meet your hands and grip your palms to opposite elbows and bend the knees a lot and forward fold. Drop your head, rock from side to side. I love this pose because it feels like the weight of my day or my week or my month are just kind of rolling off my shoulders, releasing. Release your grip, and then on an inhalation, halfway lift. So your fingertips are gonna tickle your shins. You'll lengthen through your spine, and then you'll exhale back into a fold. And then press through both feet. Inhale, lift all the way up to stand. Sweep through your fingers. And then exhale your palms into your heart center, so your thumbs rest at your heartbeat. And so we're gonna release our palms to the sides of the waist and then just do a little bit of rocking from side to side, a little bit of like free movement, just kind of shaking out anything. And if you wanna like be creative with this, move in any other way that feels good, go for it. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then come into stillness. And I want you to imagine right now that your torso, it's like a glass of water and it has sand in it. It's been stirred up and stirred up and stirred up. And then as you stand in stillness, the sand begins to settle and the water clears. Sand settles, the water clears. Let's take a breath in, sweep both palms up towards the sky, upward mountain. And then exhale your body into a forward fold. Inhale your halfway lift. And then exhale to lower back down. You're gonna step your left foot all the way far back on the mat, so your right foot is forward, and then just take a little bit of a rock forward and back, getting into your hip crease here. And then once again, we're gonna land onto the left knee. Lift both palms up. This is called an Anjaneyasana, a low lunge. So while we're in our Anjaneyasana, we're gonna open the shoulders. I'm gonna turn so you can see me and what I'm doing. So you're going to open your arms wide and then wrap your right arm underneath the left, okay? You can grip your palms to opposite shoulders. This is like a perfectly great place to be. And then a second variation, if you're more experienced at yoga or you have the flexibility, you might weave the arms together. It's like this. Really important to know that like the poses don't really matter. The pose is not the goal. So if you have too much tightness in your shoulders and you can't yet accomplish this today, it really doesn't matter. It's just a pose. The point is to be feeling your body and being present in your body and in this moment, not accomplishing anything. Let's take one more round of breath. And then you're gonna unwind your arms and take a big stretch, release the bind. And then exhale your palms back down so that they frame your foot. Inhale your right palm up towards the sky so you're coming into a twist. Exhale the right palm back down. I can't remember if I mentioned this. Know that you can always put the blanket underneath the left knee. Inhaling, twisting up, and then exhaling the palm back down. Take 2 more, breath in. And then breath out. Take 1 more inhale into this twist. And then this time we're actually gonna stay, and you might deepen it by landing the right palm on the sacrum. Okay, you can be here. If you're a regular, if you have space in your quads, if you feel like it, you might kick the heel towards the bottom and grip the foot. Know that it's just an option on like a menu of choices, okay? And I'm just gonna stay right here today because this is where I feel like being. Release the palm. Let's take the right palm back down. We're gonna do one more thing. We're gonna lengthen through the right leg and take a hamstring stretch. Now, if the ground is far away, in the studio, I often cue people to have their hands on yoga blocks. I assume we don't have yoga blocks right now, so you can have your hands on the chair. You can have your hands on a table, on the wall, whatever. And if you're okay with reaching the ground, go ahead. The goal here is to come to a comfortable edge, like an area where you feel a little bit of discomfort, but you're like growing into it, okay? You're not here to cause pain. So if you feel pain, hands can be on the chair, back off, that's okay. 1 more breath. And now you're gonna walk your palms forward, step your right foot back to meet your left. So we're in a low plank right now with our knees on the mat. Draw your elbows back in space like you're doing a tricep push-up. So elbows go back, back, back. Inhale up into a gentle back bend, heart opens, don't press super hard through your hands. Exhale, lower back down. And then shift through a tabletop to find your down dog. So that tricep action, we do a lot of tricep work in yoga. We're basically laying the foundation for like your future arm balances later on if you stick with this practice. We do the tricep move because it like creates a shelf for you to balance the rest of your body on. But we don't need to worry about that today. We're not here to do that. Take 1 more breath. And then you're gonna bend through both knees and then just step your feet forward, back to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, bend through the knees, sit back into a chair. So in this pose, commonly the knees wanna go super far forward. I want you to guide your knees back in space so they're stacking above your ankles. You can almost see your toes poking out in front of you. And then sit the hips a little lower, tuck the tailbone, settle your gaze. We are gonna hold this for a few breaths. Yoga for me is like a resiliency training. You're forced to hold poses for a long time, get really uncomfortable. And what I have learned from that throughout my lifetime is resiliency skills, that I can be in uncomfortable and difficult situations, that they too shall pass, that I'm stronger than I think I am. So let's lean into all of this instead of being annoyed that we're still in chair. 1 more breath, and it's okay if you're annoyed. And then exhale to fold. Release. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, lower. Same movement on the opposite side. So step your right foot back. Left foot is forward. Rock back and forward. A little bit of hip mobility here. And then rest into your right knee. And then inhale your palms up overhead. So this is your Anjaneyasana, your low lunge. And then you can open the arms wide, and we'll take the opposite side of those eagle arms. So it's right arm underneath the left. Either you grip the shoulders, maybe you weave the arms together. See if you can find the middle in this shape. It's like the Goldilocks position between like the most intense and strong pose and like the most lazy and weak pose. Just find the middle between those two elements, those two polarities. And then unweave the arms, take a big stretch, And then exhale, frame the foot. Right palm stays rooted as you spiral the left palm towards the sky. Breath in, and then take your 4 flows like this. So inhale, twist. And then exhale. 2 more. And then 1 more. And then you decide if you want to land the palm. Maybe you want to come into a quad stretch. Try to have a skillful awareness around what your body needs. It will tell you, it knows. Maybe the quad stretch is not for today. Maybe that's for a few weeks from now. Let's take that left palm back down. And then our last pose here, you're gonna walk your fingertips back, lengthen through your hamstrings, and then take 3 breaths. And as you inhale, you're gonna lead with your heart. And then as you exhale, you're gonna soften and hinge your body forward into that stretch. 2 more. And then 1 more. Walk your palms forward. Step your left knee all the way back. So you're back into this low plank. If you are a regular and you have a vinyasa practice, feel free to tuck your toes and go into that. I'm gonna lead you through the same variation we did before. Okay, so tricep push-ups, elbows drawing back. Inhaling, lifting your heart. Exhale your way back down. Shift up into a down dog. Let's just stay in our down dog for 5 breaths. See if you can kind of roll your forearms or your upper arms in so you're almost like closing off your armpits, if that makes sense. And what that's gonna do is spread through your shoulders as opposed to like curling them in. It's just gonna strengthen your shoulders. Keep this as an inversion instead of a back bend. I don't know if that makes sense over Zoom. Take 1 more breath. And then you're gonna land your knees onto the mat. Okay, so from our table, we're gonna do a tiny bit of core. Keeping both palms grounded, extend your right leg behind you. So first time, we're just gonna draw the right knee in to the chest and then extend it back. Okay, so if you're good like this, if your balance is something you're building, then just stay here moving the leg. And if you want a little bit more of a cross body challenge, you're gonna take the opposing arm, and on the inhale, everything is lengthened from fingertip to heel. And on your exhalation, you curl and contract. Okay, let's keep breathing like this, taking 4 more. If your balance is feeling off today, don't judge yourself. I am a big believer that our balance on our yoga mat is a direct reflection of our balance in our lives. Let's inhale everything up and then just land the palm and land the knee. And I think most of us are feeling pretty off balance right now. So it is normal that you might be falling all over the place. Okay, I am too. Take your left leg up, and then we'll start first with just the knee 2 times. And then either staying here or lifting the right arm. Two more. And then 1 more. Lengthen everything. And then land the right palm and land the left knee. Take your left palm up towards the sky, and then we're gonna take a twist as well here. So we're gonna thread the left arm underneath the right and land onto your left cheek and left shoulder. This is like my favorite shoulder stretch of all time. It's so nice. If you wanna lift the right arm, go ahead, leave it together. Oh, someone is joining in. The one annoying thing about Zoom now, they have this new feature where you have to have a waiting room. So I have to get up and let people in. It's all good though. They're trying to protect our safety on Zoom. Come all the way back and let's twist into the opposite way. Okay, so it's your right palm that is skyward, and then you thread the right arm under, landing onto the right cheek and the right shoulder. Staying for 3, and for 2, and then for 1. Come all the way back up through your table. Let's tuck our toes, down dog. And then this time you're gonna walk your palms to the back of the mat. So walk all the way back, find your forward fold. Grip your palms to opposite elbows. And then release that grip, bend through your knees. So wiggle your toe mounts together, bend through the knees, sit the hips back, lift into your chair again. So arms are reaching up towards the sky, shoulders are relaxing. Can you find the middle between effort and ease and strength and surrender? Finding the middle between these two polarities. Give it one more breath. And then come all the way up to stand. Okay, so your right foot is going to be forward and your left foot is going to be back. You're coming into a warrior one. This is a stance where your left foot is like on a 45-degree angle. And if you imagine that there's like a line down the center of your yoga mat, your feet are on either side of that line, okay? Your right toes are towards the front of the mat and your hips are almost like squaring towards the front as well, okay? So we're gonna reach our arms up overhead and try to make a right angle with your right knee. So right knee is stacking above right ankle. In yoga, we call your focal point a drishti point. So just find one focal point to gaze at. And in a moment, we're gonna take a balancing pose called Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. If you are feeling like you need to hold on to something, you have your chair. So we are going to trust weight onto the right foot and lean forward. Hands might be on the hips, or your hands could be supporting you on whatever is in front of you, okay? In this posture, you're pressing down through the right big toe. You're almost making like an uppercase T with your body. And you're feeling this extension from the crown of the head all the way through the sole of the foot. Find your drishti point, find your balance. And know that it is okay if you fall, you are still a good person. Take one more breath. And then let's bend through the right knee and slowly step all the way back, land your left foot. And we're coming into what's called a warrior 2. So this posture differs because your hips are pointed towards the long side of your mat and your right heel is almost intersecting with your left inner arch. And then your arms are gonna reach out in front of you and your gaze is gonna settle over your right fingertips, right? Let's invite a little bit of a flow here. So inhale your right palm behind you and you're extending through your rib cage. And then exhale back up, warrior 2. 3 more flows just like this, breath in. And then breath out. 2 more. And then take 1 more, inhale. And then exhale, come all the way forward. Land your right elbow onto your right thigh and reach your fingertips ahead of you. This is called extended side angle. This is a pretty deep work for our hip right now. Keep pressing down through the outer edge of the left foot. Relax the shoulder, find the middle. And as the body finds the middle, the mind begins to find the moment. Okay, let's lengthen through the right leg, come all the way back up. So release that bend, let's give it a little break. Wiggle your left foot in a tiny bit. Hinge at your hips. Take your right arm alongside your right calf and reach your left fingertips up. This is Trikonasana, triangle pose. Now, In this pose, different traditions of yoga do it differently. I know in Ashtanga, they really emphasize reaching the ground. The thing about that is it tends to curve your shoulder in. And I see the intention of this pose as spreading through your collarbone. So it's okay if your hand is not quite on the ground, mine never is. It's more like in the center of my shin. But I want you to feel an expansion and a spreading through your heart. And if it's comfortable for you gazing up towards the left thumb, you can also gaze towards the mat. Okay, option 1, stay here. Option 2, come into your Ardha Chandrasana, which is half moon. So this is a balancing pose where your left hip is stacking on your right hip. Know that you can have your chair here. That is a perfectly good modification. And know that you can also decide that you just don't feel like doing it. Take one more breath. I see someone else coming in. This is awesome. Okay, and then step all the way back. So your left foot lands. All feet, both feet are now on the mat. You're turning your toes towards the short edge of the mat. Take your palms onto your hips. Take a breath in. And then exhale your body forward. Find a wide-legged forward fold. You can have hands on the hips. You can have hands gripping opposite elbows. You can let your hands dangle. Ton of different variations. Taking deep inhales and exhales. Take one more breath. And then take your palms onto your hips. We're gonna come all the way up. So this is called, what we're about to do is called goddess squat. Your heels are gonna come in, your toes are gonna come out, hands are on the hips. We'll sit a little lower. This is another favorite pose of people. Everyone's like, I can't wait to do goddess. It's so comfortable, it's so awesome. Just kidding, it's not very comfortable. All right, if you want to come back into that shoulder stretch that we did in our low lunge, we're going to do that again, opening our arms, crossing the right arm underneath the left, gripping the shoulders or weaving the forearms together. Now we are doing this mostly just to distract our minds from the super uncomfortable shape our legs are in. Take one more breath. And then unwind. And then cross the opposite way. Keep breathing, you can do this. You are not going to be in goddess pose forever. Just like you're not going to be in this quarantine forever. This chapter of your life will pass. Take one more inhale. One more exhale. Nice work, release that. And then stretch through the legs. All right, opposite side. So we're coming to the first pose we did, which was Warrior One. That's the one where your feet are a bit wider. Your left knee is stacking on left ankle. 45-degree angle with your back right foot. And then inhale your palms up overhead. As your body finds the middle, the mind finds the moment. And is there wisdom in the middle? Wisdom in the present moment. Decide what to do with your hands. Maybe they're at heart center, maybe they're on your hips, maybe they're on a table in front of you. You're gonna tilt your way into that Virabhadrasana 3, that Warrior 3. One of the cool things about yoga is it's kind of like a vehicle for us to explore ourselves. So it's not just about the pose, but it's about our reaction to the pose, right? I just fell out of Warrior 3, and my immediate reaction might be to judge myself. Oh, I suck at yoga. Or maybe you're finding it easy to balance here and your ego is like, I'm great at yoga. And part of this is all about just kind of noticing those thought patterns that we have. Okay, I've held you here for a while. Take one more breath and then step all the way back. Nice work. Wiggling back, warrior two. And then we'll have that mindful movement flow. On your inhale, you reverse. And on your exhale, you come up to the warrior two. And then just keep going like this. Taking one more. And then come all the way forward, left elbow, left knee, fingertips reach forward. And then let's come all the way back up to stand and lengthen through your left leg. Walk your right foot in a tiny bit. Take your breath in, hinge forward. Left arm alongside your left leg, Trikonasana. Gaze towards your right thumb. And option one is stay here, and option two is to come into your Ardha Chandrasana, your half moon. Another great variation for this pose for beginners actually is to like literally stand up against a wall. I have a beginner private yoga student and I have him do that all the time. So if your balance feels off, the wall can be your friend here. Take one more breath. And then this time we're gonna tilt all the way up to stand and then just take the right foot with you. Take an inhale, half lift, or sorry, inhale, full lift, upward mountain. Exhale, fold. We'll just do a half sun salutation. Take an inhale, halfway lift now. And then exhale your way back down. And then push through both feet. Inhale, lift all the way up to stand. Take your palms into your heart center. Okay, so we're gonna do one more balancing pose. This is called tree pose. Your left foot is gonna be your root here. You're gonna lift onto your right tippy toes. Open your right knee to the side. Now your right ankle can be on the inside of your calf. It can be on your shin. Maybe it's all the way up in your left leg. The one thing I want you to do is try to avoid pressing your foot into your left knee. That is gonna push your knee in a direction that it's not meant to go, okay? So as you do this, I want you to see if you can kind of draw your left hip in a tiny bit. It has this tendency to push out. So see if you can draw it back in line. And then tons of different arm variations. Hands can be at heart center. They can lift up above. When I teach children's yoga, I pretend I'm like blowing wind at them and they pretend to blow all over the place. So if you're feeling wobbly, you can just pretend that I'm blowing wind at you. It's all part of the plan. Take one more breath. And then let's just release and step the right foot down. And then take the opposite side. So left foot is on the ankle, the shin. Maybe it's all the way up on the thigh. And then you choose what to do with your hands here. I'm gonna stop talking on this side so that you can just be in the moment with your body and your breath. One more inhale. One more exhale. And then just step the foot back down. Take an inhale, sweep both palms up towards the sky. And then exhale your body forward into a fold. Take your inhale to halfway lift. And then exhale your way back down, plant the palms. We're gonna take a vinyasa. So you're gonna step all the way back, land your knees onto the mat, slowly lower triceps, drawing back and building strength. Inhaling, lifting the heart up. Exhaling, lower. And then shift through a tabletop And we're just gonna come to sit on your hip and roll all the way over so that you're coming back onto your mat. All right, so we're gonna take a back bend. You're gonna press your palms into the mat, press your feet into the mat underneath your knees, lift the hips up towards the sky, roll the shoulder blades under, and interlace the palms pinky side down. So this is called bridge. It's kind of like a hip thrust in fitness classes, but we're just holding it for a little bit longer. Take one more breath. And then release your grip and slowly lower each and every vertebrae one at a time down on the mat. Take your right ankle, cross it over your left thigh, push your right palm into your right thigh, flex your right toes. So you can either stay here or you can lift your left leg up and interlace your palms on your left thigh or your left shin. This is called thread the needle. This is a nice, sweet little hip opener. I often refer to our hips as like our emotional junk drawer, where we carry a lot of our stuff. And as you're leaning into this stretch, if you're new to yoga, there might be like a lot of things coming up. Just kind of let whatever you're feeling move through you. Know that it's all normal. We're living through a pandemic, so cut yourself some slack. You're doing the best you can. Then release the left foot, release the right foot, and then let's cross the other way. So left ankle flexes, push the left palm into the left thigh, and then you choose what depth you want to take this pose into. Feel how the left side differs from the right. Take one more inhale, one more exhale, and then release your right foot, release your left foot, open your arms into cactus arms on the mat. You're going to take both knees into your chest, and then you're going to drop both knees over to the right, and then trickle your gaze over to the left. If your knees are not quite connecting, and if your left shoulder is lifting, then feel free to take a cushion and support yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Take the knees all the way back through center, and then drop the knees the opposite way. So we're going to come all the way back through center. We're going to take one more pose before our Shavasana. This is Viparita Karani. This is like my favorite gentle inversion of all time. I don't teach it very much in my classes because we don't have a lot of wall space. So to do this pose, if you're not near a wall or you don't have a chair, you can also just lift your legs up into the sky, okay? This is the same thing. If you have a chair, you can just lay down and like put your feet like this on the chair. And if you have a wall, you can also kind of scooch your bottom up and lift your legs up. Basically, the goal in this pose is to reverse your blood flow. So all day we're on our feet or we're sitting on our chairs and our blood flow is going from our hearts down to our legs. And in this pose, we're counteracting that, right? So we're sending the blood back to the heart and back to the brain. And one of my yoga teachers told me a long time ago that it helps your mood, it helps you feel happier. And so I'm not sure if it really does or if it's just a placebo effect with me. But whenever I'm feeling anxious or overwhelmed, this is one of my go-to postures that I drop into. So we're going to be here for a few rounds of breath. And for your final resting pose, your Shavasana, you can stay here if this is like a happy place for you right now. You can also come into a traditional Shavasana, which I'll just show you. You have your body stretched out on your mat like this. I'm gonna come closer to you guys. I'm gonna come into a seated meditation near my computer. So of all the poses in yoga, this is the most important pose. The original purpose of yoga thousands of years ago was to stretch our body and to get rid of any, pins and needles and twitches so that we could drop into stillness in a meditation. So if you haven't already, make sure your phone is off. Try to get rid of any distractions. So something that a lot of people don't know about yoga is that the yoga poses are just like one of 8 limbs from this ancient traditional text called the Yoga Sutras. One of the words from the Yoga Sutras is abhyasa, and this word means practice. And I have a teacher called Rolf Gates. He's an incredible yoga teacher. And he wrote this essay around the concept of abhyasa and practice. And when I was planning to teach a 1-year no-beer yoga class, it kind of came into mind. I thought it would resonate with some of you as much as it resonated with me. So he writes about how important it is to be, regularly committed to our yoga practice. And if you're new to yoga, maybe you can interpret that as being regularly committed to your self-care, your exercise, whatever it is that keeps you grounded. And Rolf writes that when he first quit drinking, so when I first quit drinking, I was astounded to hear about homeless people who drank every day for years. And I just did not understand how they can afford it. And what I failed to realize is the power of making something a priority. If drinking is your priority, then you'll find a way to do it, whether you have a roof over your head or not. And by choosing to practice yoga, by showing up here today, we are saying that our self-care and our well-being is important to us. We're making it a priority. And our yoga practice, it's almost like a shelter we build for ourselves. It's the work we do to safeguard, to support ourselves and our well-being. The winds of life will constantly wear away at our shelter, but if we stick to our tools, that shelter will hold. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly. Into the light of a dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to arrive. You were only waiting for this moment to arrive. You were only waiting, moment to arrive. Give your fingers and your toes a little bit of a wiggle. And a nice long stretch through your body, fingers all the way through toes. If you're seated, you can just stay in seated. If you're on your back, you can gradually make your way up to meet us all here. And I'm going to invite you to put your palms at your heart center if you're comfortable there, or they can just be on your lap. And we're going to finish our practice together with just a shared breath in and a shared breath out. So take a full inhale. And then take a full exhale. Thank you guys so much for showing up and sharing the space and the practice today. May we all have lovely rest of our days and evenings ahead of us. May all beings be happy and be healthy and free, and may the thoughts and actions of each of our lives contribute towards this. Om Shanti, 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 peace. Namaste.
Mindful Life Practice.